We're good.
Okay. The September 19th meeting of the Compliance and Amendments Committee is now in session. First item.
On call the roll. Member Highland. Highland absent. Member Moss.
I'm here.
Moss present. Chair Kanata.
Here.
Kanata present. We have a quorum. There are no agenda changes that I know of at this time.
Okay, next item.
Next on the agenda is item number 2, approval of the July 10th Compliance Amendments Committee meeting minutes.
I will move to approve.
Second. Public comment on the approval of the past meetings minutes.
There being no public comment on that motion. Highland absent. Member Moss.
Aye.
Moss, aye. Chair Kanata.
Aye.
Kanata, aye. The motion to adopt the minutes of July 10, 2017 has been approved. Next on the agenda is item number 3, public comment. Members of the public may address the committee on matters that are within the committee's jurisdiction, but not on today's agenda.
Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment. Public comment's closed.
Next on the agenda is item number 4. File number 17090, complaint filed by Alvin Jha against the Office of Economic and Workforce Development for allegedly violating Administrative Code, Section 67.21, by failing to respond to immediate disclosure request in a complete manner.
Okay, Mr. Jha, you have 3 minutes to state your case.
How many?
3.
Basically, I'd like to give you some background first. The city, or OEWD, is trying to set up a project, a new project in the Balboa Reservoir that's owned by PUC. And currently, the existing setting is that it's being used by the students for student parking by City College. Okay, so basically, the problem I see is that why is the City College administration giving up the reservoir project without a fight? So the purpose of my sunshine request is to see what kind of backroom deals, possibly what kind of political pressure or undue pressure that the city has been putting on the community college district to not put up a fight. And okay, basically, there's 2 things involved in terms of the other party. They say that, well, first of all, I'm asking for stuff that I say is unrelated to the project's agreement, bids, contracts, RFP process itself. I'm concerned with the relationship between the city and the college. Okay, and I think it's pretty clear that there's a problem in that. I'll refer you to page 24 of the packet. Page 24, I put a bottom line in there that basically why is the city giving this, why is the college giving this up without a fight? And I have some specific quotations from the city team where they're talking about actively participating in City College's FMP process, which has absolutely nothing to do with the reservoir project. The other aspect is their contention that there's an RFP process that's relevant and pertinent or what's the word, related to what I'm asking for. But basically, the RFP process is not one of the specific and express exemptions that are allowed by 67.24. And the whole idea is to keep things above board, keep things transparent so that there's no secret deals, corruption, unfairness in a bid process, in an RFP process, in drafts and memorandums. Thank you.
Is there anyone here?
Not at the committee level.
Even
We only
for
do
new
that at
cases?
full.
Okay, not for new cases either?
No, we only do that at the
Okay.
full.
Is anybody here from the Mayor's Office of Economic and Workforce Development?
Yeah, but we are not the Mayor's Office of Economic and Workforce Development. We are the Office of
Okay.
Sorry, that's a sticky issue with us.
Give
Okay.
me one moment.
Sure.
I will correct it on our agenda. If you could just state that again, please. What is your official title of your office?
Sure. Does my 3 minutes start now?
No.
No.
Okay. So for the record, we are the Office of Economic and Workforce Development.
Okay, that is how I stated on the
Okay.
agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Do I get my 3
You
minutes
have
of
3
fame?
minutes, yes.
Here we go. So, Commissioners, for the record, my name is Mary Ann Mizuko Thompson. I am the custodian of records for the Office of Economic and Workforce Development. By way of background, I'd like to note that I have been the custodian of records for 12 years, first for Treasure Island, next for 311, and currently for the Office of Economic and Workforce Development. In those 12 years, I have never been brought before the Sunshine Task Force, something I am incredibly proud of, because I do believe in transparency, and every Sunshine request that comes before me, on average of one a day, I work directly with the requester to find a way to give them the documents that she or he is requesting. In this particular situation, I did receive on August 3rd, an email from Alvin Jaw requesting information, documents, emails pertaining to the Balboa Reservoir. He never narrowed it down to anything but the Balboa Reservoir. After going through the initial request, I replied to Mr. Jaw on August 4th and said that I am unable to provide him with those documents as Balboa Reservoir is currently under an active RFP. And for information, an active RFP means that even though we may have identified a person who we will negotiate with, we have not entered into an ENA, which is an exclusive negotiating agreement. So this is currently an active and open RFP. On August 4th, Mr. Jaw replied back. On August 8th, I responded that I had some emails that I could disclose to him. However, he immediately grieved me to the Sunshine Task Force, eliminating my ability to work directly with him to help him cull through the documents and find those emails which are not relevant, nor would they disclose anything relevant to the Balboa RFP while it is currently an active and open RFP.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any of the members have questions?
Move into our suggested questions page. Hold on a second. Sorry, could the respondent return? Sorry, what was your name again?
Mary Ann Mizuko Thompson. You can just
Okay.
call me Mary Ann.
Okay, so I was looking through here, and the response to it, it says that in your email to us, I believe, it says that this project should be the RFP should be finished up in August or early September. Is that the announcement been made?
No. So we announced our intent to enter into an agreement, an ENA, with a developer. Which by the way, this agreement is actually between PUC and the developer. They are the owners of that land. We anticipate that could potentially happen towards the end of October.
Okay, and we are given often a list of questions to help us figure it out.
That's okay. Try me.
Okay,
I have a question while you're
sure.
searching.
Well, yeah, sure.
So I'm looking at the request made by Mr. John. The second line, it says specifically provide notes about the communication between OEWD and SFCCD staff. Now, what is SFCCD? Just so I'm sure.
So I think Mr. Jaw is referring to the City
College.
College of
Right.
San Francisco. I don't know where the D comes from.
Okay. District. Okay.
Oh,
Okay. So my question, I guess, for you is, I know there's a project going on, and there's an RFD process. But the RFD process is between the developer and whom? OEWD?
3 entities. So, well, 2. Or 3. Let me refer this. So OEWD facilitated the project. The land belongs to the Public Utilities Commission, and the Planning Commission also facilitated this project. So there's 3 of us.
So there's 3 of you involved in the project. So how is communication between OEWD and City College about the relationship between the 2 of those entities
Well,
part of the RFP?
were it not for this RFP, we would have no contract. City College is its own separate entity, and the city does not manage anything about City College. Were it not for this RFP, we would not be in contact with them to discuss anything about a parking lot or proposers. Also, I'd like to note, while I feel a little remiss, one of City College's faculty members is actually on the Balboa Reservoir CAC. So again, very intricate project, but were it not for this project, we would not be in communications with City College.
Okay, so I'll rephrase what I get out of that is that any communications, therefore, between OEWD and any of these entities is about this project.
Correct. And specifically because Mr. John narrows it down to Ken Rich, Emily Lesk, and Mike Martin. Mike Martin is no longer with our office. Ken Rich and Emily Lesk are on our joint development team. And so they would not engage another agency were it not for the intent for this particular thing. I really want to say something again, because I do take sunshine requests very seriously, because I do feel, especially as a native and a resident who lives in San Francisco, that it's very imperative that we always give people the information they need. I feel that when Mr. Jha took this to the Sunshine Task Force, he really kind of closed that door. I would have worked with him to give him those emails that did not disclose anything relevant to the RFP. But I also needed to be clear that those emails would not have satisfied what he is looking for. So even in being transparent in this sunshine request, it still does not solve for what he's looking for.
Yeah, I'll let you go in a second. Just so you know, even though a sunshine complaint was filed, the 2 of you could still have been working together to get him those types of emails. Okay?
Oh, okay. Well, that's not my interpretation, but that's okay.
Okay.
But now I know.
Never mind.
When so after he filed the request, did you actually look for communications that fit his description before, or did you just say, oh, well, this all must come under this RFP?
No. So whenever I get a request, I go to the appropriate individuals. I cull through their emails. We do it in a variety of different search mechanisms. And I look to see what comes up. And then as I cull through those emails, if I see things where it's information regarding finances, if it's information that can't be disclosed because it's covered under attorney-client privilege, those types of things, we culled through Ken and Emily's email. And this is truly, there is a handful of things that we can hand Mr. Jha, and I'm happy to do so. I just don't feel like it's going to satisfy what he wants.
I'm going to look at the law a little bit.
Okay.
If you have more questions in the meantime, that's fine.
Member Highland, any? Okay. So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Jha, just real quickly, could you come up to the microphone again? So for the emails that the respondent said have no relationship to the RFP, is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, because I'm not asking anything about the RFP.
Okay.
I'm not, like in fact, the ENA that she's talking about is already public information. All this, during this time, the RFP proposals, the selected developer, the ENA, they're all public information already. I don't want that, you know. I want to know what the relationship in terms of what the community, what City College administrators have been conceding to Balboa Reservoir Project. And it's not really true that there is no relationship. There have been ongoing meetings between administration, City College administration staff and Emily Lesk for the planning department, Jeremy Shaw. You know, those are ongoing regular meetings. And if you read some of the stuff I wrote, I detail it. And in fact, it's in the minutes of the San Francisco County Transportation Authority CAC minutes that there's such a thing as regular meetings. Not necessarily about the reservoir itself, but about transportation demand management, what they call TDM.
Meetings between whom? Meetings between whom?
Between various agencies and City College.
Okay, but the only agency that you have the complaint against is OEWD.
Right. But, you know, OEWD is one of those agencies that has been having regular meetings. And it's been documented by one of the previous vice chancellors for facilities at City College, that there have been these meetings.
And Ms. Thompson, real quickly, and this will be my last question. I guess a two-part question. Have there been regular meetings, and were these meetings happening before this project?
So our department was looped in when this project was proposed, not prior to this project.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep, thank you. Okay, members, any?
I mean, you know, we're not, it doesn't seem like we're adjudicating this fully today, but rather grabbing some or getting a sort of cohesive idea of what the situation is. I feel like I have a general idea of what's going on. I think what I would like to see happen here is for that batch of records that the respondent says she could make available, to make those available, and then we can hear from Mr. Jha what he feels needs to happen beyond that, because I would hate for him to only receive those on the day of the next hearing and then him have to respond to that very quickly. I would love for him to have a chance to look over those records before hearing this again.
Through the chair. So it sounds like now that both parties know they continue communicating, perhaps a little bit of that should take place, and we maybe continue this matter to our next meeting and see by then if he has the information he wants. I don't think this is ready yet to go to the full task force. So I would make a motion to continue.
Okay, I agree. I have, Mr. Jha, just real quickly, if OEWD provided you with these emails that don't have anything to do with the details of the RFP, does that satisfy your request?
Yes, the way you worded it, absolutely.
Okay.
I don't want details.
Right, and Ms. Thompson, you're willing to do that?
Sorry. Yes, I'm very willing to do it. And Mr. Jha actually has my contact information. He's free to call me once I really take this very seriously.
Right.
And so once he receives the documents, I'm willing to walk him through what he gets so that I can say, this is pertaining to, a meet, or this is a calendar request to discuss the parking lot.
Okay.
Any of those things, I'm happy to give it to them. I just was taken off guard by someone who...
Okay. So if it's amenable to both of you, why don't we do this? Ms. Thompson will provide all of these emails. Mr. Jha will get them. You two can communicate about them. If this satisfies you, we'll continue this item now. If it satisfies the request, both of you can get back to us and say the request has been satisfied and we can just close this issue. If not, then we have another meeting here to make sure we have everything in place and we go up to the full
Sure.
The task force, okay?
Sure.
And through the chair, recommendation, Mr. Jha, you might, if this is satisfied and closed, but you have other emails you want from other agencies, I would file a separate request them directly. If they don't respond, then refer it back to us, just so it's all, because we can only work within the boundaries of what you put before us.
Just for the record, he has Sunshine, the planning department, and my understanding is there is an active FOIA with the City College.
Okay.
So he is doing his due diligence.
Okay, thank you both.
Just
we
to
need a
clarify,
motion?
the parties will work together to provide additional emails. If you can come to an agreement, please let me know, and we can hopefully withdraw the complaint. If not, please let me know also, and we can reschedule this matter for a hearing before this committee. I believe the motion would be to continue the matter to the call of the chair and to find that the request record is a public record
And that there is jurisdiction.
pursuant to the Sunshine Ordinance.
And there is jurisdiction.
And we have jurisdiction.
Yes, okay. So who's making that
Do
motion?
we, sorry, I think we probably need to vote on jurisdiction.
Yeah, let's do a couple.
We can do it
separate.
as one motion if.
Oh, you can?
Okay.
Okay. So I'll restate the motion to find jurisdiction and to continue to the call of the chair.
I second that.
Any public comment on the motion? Seeing no public comment?
On the motion, Member Highland.
Aye.
Highland, aye. Member Moss.
Aye.
Moss, aye. Chair Kanada.
Aye.
Kanada, aye. The motion passes. The matter will be continued to the call of the chair.
All right, next item, please.
Next on the agenda, item number 5, file number 17082, complaint filed by Anonymous against Luis Herrera and the Public Library for allegedly violating Administrative Code, Section 67.25, by failing to respond to an immediate disclosure request in a timely and/or complete manner.
Through the chair, Victor, how do we deal with anonymous complaints when they're signed non-anonymously?
That's it. The parties are informed that anything they give me becomes a public record, and Anonymous is aware of that fact. He has filed several of them with us. He just does not want his name to appear on our agendas.
That makes sense to me. Thank you.
Okay.
And through the chair, we should probably continue to refer to him as Anonymous.
That's fine with me.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the complainant here?
Or her.
The complainant.
Yeah, right.
You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, members. I'm going to start with a question. Does the San Francisco Public Library have written policies and procedures that require employees to file written reports of any incidents that occur in the library? If so, what are those policies and procedures? On June 26, 2017, I made an immediate disclosure request of Luis Herrera, City Librarian. The library responded on July 3rd, thus violating the Sunshine Ordinance require of a next day response. I only discovered that there was any document in the library's files relating indirectly to a conversation I had with a library employee after I received the library's response on July 5th. In other words, the practice of the library is to not notify patrons of complaints unless and until the patron requests a copy of such complaints. Is this practice following a written procedure? In other words, are they adhering to their own written procedures? If so, I would like to see a copy of that procedure. I hope you're following this. On June 24th I had a brief conversation. This all started on June 24th when I had a brief conversation with Darren Olson of the library staff. It was that personal conversation that I was inquiring about in my IDR of June 26th to Luis Herrera. No one ever mentioned any complaint filed against me in my file. The only time I'm repeating myself, the only time I became aware of any complaint was after I had belatedly received the library's response to my immediate disclosure request. So, are you following this? Is this making sense so far? I'm kind of pulling it out of the air. So I can read my immediate disclosure request, which says on June 24th, we got 30 seconds here. I'm just going to end it there.
Okay. Is the respondent here?
In support.
Victor said that we don't do that at this level.
I keep forgetting.
Hi, Sue Blackman, custodian of records for the San Francisco Public Library. Excuse me. I wanted to first say we were delayed in the response. The Anonymous's immediate disclosure request was faxed in. I went to the parties that I thought were involved that would have information on this. They responded to me, and somehow I'm just going to be honest. I don't know what happened. My normal procedure is as soon as I get something, I email the response, and it's taken care of. But because I had to mail this, it got moved on my desk, and it didn't go out until 3 days later. So it was 3 days late. But we did respond with the only responsive document that I had, which was an email regarding this incident. And I sent that to Anonymous.
Okay, thank you.
Through the chair, Victor, that email is not in our packet, is it?
I do not believe so. I don't see it.
Yeah, because I had a question here also. Did the public library respond?
Right. Through the chair, Ms. Blackman, if you could approach. And when was that email sent to?
July 3rd.
And did you copy?
It wasn't an email. It was snail mail. It was by mail, which is why it got lost on my desk. So it was a...
So the request came in by fax and responded late by
mail.
By regular mail.
Because he didn't have any email or fax or any other way to respond.
No return fax number or anything?
No.
Okay. So by U.S. mail it was sent?
By U.S. mail.
Okay.
And it was a copy of the email and the letter of response saying that was our only responsive document.
And do you have that email here? Is that something you can put on the screen?
You know, I don't...
Okay. That's okay.
I have the letter that went out, and I don't have the...
That's all right. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
for the complainant?
Yeah. Not necessarily. Just want to make sure. But if you could approach.
We just want to make sure you received it.
Yeah, if you could approach. We have a couple of questions for you. Yeah. Carry on. Okay.
So you did, even though it was late, you did receive their response?
Yes. Can I back up and try to start all over again? There was an incident that happened at the library. I was accused of abusing the employees. No one had ever told me that before. So I made this immediate disclosure request of the librarian for any records that have to do with this. As far as I knew, as I stated earlier, there was no record of this incident was created as a result of this verbal communication I had with this librarian. I'd like to know, and if you look at this, the response they sent, there's an email that was sent on the day of this conversation I had with the librarian, but he is not the author of the email.
He being the person you had the conversation with.
Since this is all public, Darren Olson. I had this conversation with Darren Olson, And so they sent me this email from somebody I did not recognize the name of, because the employees don't usually give their names. Apparently, I had spoken with this person earlier, but this gets very hard to sort out. If you look, so you understand that much. So they're sent from Giggler Pilar. I don't know whether that's the first and last name.
Yeah, probably.
Pilar Giggler is to Darren Olson. I had no idea anyone had a complaint against me, verbally or in writing. And then when I made this request, they sent this email. But if you look at the rest of it, if you can read the rest of it, it looks to me suspicious, frankly, because it was generated on the day after I sent the immediate disclosure request on June 26th. Here's an email. Here's apparently an email from Michael Lambert generated the following day. Evidently, he went back to the file and I presume looked under the date and my name and found this email. I'm trying to sort this out. I could not find any procedures. This looks all very arbitrary from the start of them accusing me of abusing anyone. I don't believe I've ever abused anyone in the library. I may ask some questions and may even be critical of their procedures, but I have never been abusive to anybody. So I'm trying to figure out, how do these things work in the library?
Okay.
If somebody accuses you of something, number one, is the employee required to file a written record of that encounter? So far as I can tell, there are no written procedures. I think this task force has an obligation to find out if there are such written procedures, because people, their libraries interacting with all kinds of people, and I consider myself an upstanding, informed, properly behaved patron of the library.
Right.
I don't wish to abuse anybody, but I wish them to respect my rights as I respect theirs. Okay. So that's what this is all about.
Okay, but in the case we have here is your request was, please send me at the above address all communications and documents that support Darren Olson's allegations and claims, and this is what they sent you. If we can, Ms. Blackman, can you come up for a minute? Are there procedures that the library staff follows if there are issues with the general public at the library?
To my understanding is this did not go to the level of filing an incident report. So this, which would be outlined in, types of things in our patron code of conduct. So this was an internal email that was sent just to people involved, letting them know what happened. And my understanding was after this email, there were verbal conversations with staff. It did not rise to the level of an incident.
Okay. Would you send the complainant the procedures that the library follows when there are issues between a person working at the library and a patron of the library?
Okay, I don't believe that there are written procedures. It's up to unless it rises to an incident report.
Okay, so
this is an internal thing that a staff person would talk to their supervisor about, and that maybe they would, internally.
That sounds like a procedure to me.
Well, I don't think it's a written procedure. I think it's, I can look. But
can you look, and also what are the procedures for an incident report? So that the complainant knows if something like this should happen again, this is what should be expected.
Right. And that's in the patron code of conduct.
Yeah, that patron code of conduct you reference is public, on the public domain. I'm looking at it right now, and I'm sure the complainant can see that too. Patron code of conduct, public library. It's on the web, and it's kind of detailed about level 1 violations, level 2 moderate violations, level 3. It's quite detailed what's here. So I think that might be the answer to what you're looking for.
I don't think it is.
Okay.
Well, I'd be glad to say why.
Yeah, come on up, because I'm.
I don't. I thought I had a copy of that. I think I know what you're reading from.
Right.
When it comes to the level at which this alleged incident occurred, I think it's unconstitutionally vague. And my concern is, again, without my knowledge, they generated this report. Remember this. In the normal course of events, when anything like this happens, they don't tell the patron that there's a record. I actually brought a matter before the Sunshine Task Force last year about library records for patrons, and I didn't really get anywhere. That's my concern. If they're generating records that are effectively secret, but permanent, right? Because these are erased. Then they could go back. If you read that procedure, it uses the words repeated, right? Even though it's vague, it's unconstitutionally vague and too vague, in my opinion. If there's another incident, they could use this as a tactic to humiliate or intimidate the patron. That's the way I felt treated by this Darren Olson gentleman. So if they're generating a record and they could generate another one, and they could go back to that procedure and say, look, this is repeated. It happened before, even though you didn't know about it. So it's a form of intimidation, and I think it's unconstitutional. It's interfering with my free speech rights. All I did to generate this, supposedly, was tell them that one department was contradicting the other department. I made the remark, I don't know if you have this, I made the remark that possibly you guys aren't well trained. Don't blame it on me. If one department tells me this item is here for pickup and the other department says it's not here for pickup, what is the patron supposed to do? So that was the occasion for this conversation, which should not, in my opinion, ever have generated what I consider a slanderous email. I have never, I'm not gonna, so that's my concern. If you generate a record, you should tell the patron that there's a record generated. You should have a procedure for doing it, and you should revise this code of conduct that says if you want to read under the lowest level there, it's very vague. They can say, we don't like the way you talk to us, and which is what he did to me. And since we didn't like the way you talked to us before, you can be penalized. Is that out of order for me to ask you to read the lowest level of offense that a patron can indulge in, which apparently I was in, but it generated a report anyway. So what's going on here?
Yeah, the lowest form is much lower than that. So potentially you'd be a level 2 violation according to their thing, but that's not for us here to adjudicate. I think what happened here is that, as Ms. Blackman said, your discussion with the employee never rose to an incident report level. It didn't make it onto any of these.
But it generated a public record, or a record. Is it public?
Which you now have.
Yeah, which I think is a mark on my character, on my behavior.
I see what you're saying, and I think maybe.
But it's all very arbitrary, you understand. Yeah. It could be thrown in for any reason.
I got you, but I don't think it falls within the purview of what we do here to help you kind of correct this matter.
But I want to know, I want them to put in writing what is the level of incident that generated this email.
Right.
They haven't said that.
I think what they're saying is that it didn't fall under any of the levels, but they just filed a report on it. That's how I'm interpreting it.
But it's false. They should allow me to respond without having to go through this and involve you gentlemen.
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's say it did generate a level 1 or level 2 violation. What would their process be? In fact, Ms. Blackman, why don't you answer that, if you would? So I think what the complainant is trying to get to is what is the process? Where is my due process in this this reporting of violations that you guys have? And why don't you go ahead and summarize?
Well, again, if it doesn't rise to the level of an incident report, it's internal.
Right.
And it depends on the person. Library staff usually reports it to their supervisor, which is what I think that happened in this case.
Okay.
And that was basically the end of it. I mean, it didn't go into a file about him or anything.
If there had been an incident report,
then that would be public.
Would the individual who that report is on be notified and told that there's an
Absolutely.
incident report?
Absolutely.
Okay, and that would start the process. That would then log one strike against that individual,
Right.
et cetera, according
And there's
to your
an appeal process for that
Appeal
that
process.
goes through, but it didn't.
Okay.
Okay.
It didn't rise to that level.
Okay, thank you. So through the chair, Ms. Complainant, if you'd like to approach. I mean, it seems to me like you're not on the radar. Had you been, then there is some due process that's there. I really don't. I wouldn't worry about this one letter.
With all due respect, I disagree with you. The fact that they've generated an email that was a secret email that we would have never heard about if I hadn't used the Sunshine Ordinance,
I don't think
it's
it
a
was
very
secret. I
bad
think
sign on the way they run the
I think
library.
it's an internal email. I don't think it's secret. They provided it to you, albeit late.
But I didn't know it existed.
But
The
when you-
patron should be informed anytime any report on any level is generated. That becomes a record, a public record, that can be and probably will be used as a form of intimidation to control, I think the library.
don't think so.
But the purview of this task force is to adjudicate the Sunshine Ordinance, and you went through the process, you requested a public record, you requested records that you thought that they might have. They gave it to you late, so there's a violation on immediacy, but they provided you with the record. We're not the body, the city body, to determine how the library does their internal business.
Except regarding public records. What is the procedure they followed in issuing this record under my name? In writing? It's the only procedure they have in writing, the one you read?
Through the chair, let me just, I think, wrap this up. If you're concerned about this agency or other ones, I would just file a standing monthly IDR with anything that has your name in it.
Well, I will, but I think last year that didn't work. That was a failure at this body. I'll take your.
There was a failure. They were late, but in the end, they provided.
No. I filed another
Well, that's
public
a
records
separate-
request about every record under my name last year with this body, and they could not find any. They claimed they couldn't even read the request. It was ludicrous.
Right. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I still think that you should demand that they produce a written set of policies regarding when they generate what they generated under my name, and they haven't done that. Apparently, you don't care that they have any procedures for generating records on patrons at any
just
level
one-
of behavior.
Yeah, one last question for you. On that day of the incident, were you escorted out of the library? Were you told
nothing
to
of
leave?
that sort happened.
Okay,
No,
thank
nothing.
you. That's all.
All right. So, we have a few options here, I think. We can just send this up to the full task force with all the information we have, or since the library admitted that they were late with it, we can find a violation, and if both parties agree, that will be the end of it.
Well, no matter what, we need to make sure that the packet that is sent up to the task force includes the document that we're missing. So I just want to make sure we get that addressed.
Ms. Blackman, could you send me a copy of the letter and the email?
I did send a response on September 12th, so
I'll
it may not
confirm.
have gotten to you in time to get in the packet. It was
I will
5
double
days
check and
before.
contact you if I do need it.
Okay.
And I would also just like to, this is just one sort of little housekeeping thing to fix also, is that in DCA Cola's memo, he refers to the complainant as the mayor's, or the respondent as the mayor's office in it, and that should just probably be tweaked for the sake of clarity.
Vic, did you catch that?
It's on page 68. It's the first page of the city attorney memorandum under, it says complainant files complaint, and then it says complainant filed this complaint with the task force alleging that the mayor's office failed to timely respond. It's the only error.
I will work with DCA Cola.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that's
I'll
true.
review it with DCA Cola before making any corrections.
Cool. It's a little pedantic, but I caught it. So
Okay, so for the complainant, anonymous, if a violation is found for 6725, And being that there are procedures online of the library and how they handle incidents, does that satisfy you? Or do you want to pursue this at the full task force?
I don't believe there are any procedures online for how they handle these matters. The only
Through the Chair,
document.
let me rephrase the question. Based on our reading of this, I don't think the task force can help you in determining how the library does its business.
Including how they generate public records.
Correct. So, yes, we will likely find a violation of timeliness that we're all agreed upon, including them, but that's as far as it's likely going to get. So, if you like, we can proceed and send it to the full task force, find
Definitely.
that violation.
We have a disagreement. You don't think they have an obligation to produce written procedures on how they handle all complaints regarding patrons?
They do. They already have.
No, they haven't. What's
take.
the one that applies to me? You just said it fell off below the lowest level.
Okay.
Where is that?
I think we got your answer. Okay, thank you.
Well, let's go to the full task force. I don't think you've given this an adequate airing.
May I suggest a motion?
Sure.
Since they did acknowledge that a violation did occur, if we can refer this matter to the full task force for hearing with a recommendation to find jurisdiction and determine that the the record requested was public, and to make a recommendation that a violation did occur for not responding in a timely manner.
Yeah, and cite the code 6527.
For a violation 67.25.
725.
Right.
Yeah. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Is there a way for us to just make sure that when before we vote on it, just to make sure that the committee knows that the respondent had made that acknowledgement, so it doesn't seem like we're just adjudicating because we did a full investigative process here, but we're doing it based on a concession?
Right. Yeah, I think so.
I think that's in the motion.
Okay.
Okay, so public comment on the motion? Seeing no public comment, let's take the vote.
On that motion, Member Highland.
Aye.
Highland, aye. Member Moss.
Aye.
Moss, aye. Chair Kanata.
Aye.
Kanata, aye. The motion passes. Next on the agenda, item number 6, file number 17075, complaint filed by Anonymous against Director John Ram and the Planning Department for allegedly violating Administrative Code, Section 67.25, by failing to respond to an immediate disclosure request in a timely and/or complete manner.
Okay, complainant, please.
Just a moment here. So the long and the short of it is that I made a immediate disclosure request, which they fulfilled, but only partially. They were looking at. Wait a minute, I got to go to the computer. We're looking at the complete file that I obtained from them on a CD. Numerous graphics and PDFs are internally referred to in the file, but not on the disk. This will take a few minutes to bring up over here. So we can go to page 16. Let's see here. This doesn't tell you the page number you're on, does it? This word processing program.
Page numbers on the bottom.
Where? Is there anybody here from the planning department?
Yes,
Okay.
they're here.
All right. It's going to take a minute to find these files.
Oh.
There's 97 pages in this.
Maybe you would like to just provide a summary of what you believe is there, and then we can look for the page numbers at a later time.
What do you mean? You mean today?
If you just,
Yeah, after you do your summary, we can dive into where things appear.
Well, I mean, the heart of the matter is very simple. I will show you where the documents are on the disk, where the documents are referred to on the disk but are not on the disk. PDFs and graphics. But it's going to take me a few minutes because this is not my computer. So I don't know. I don't know I don't know how else to proceed here.
Yeah. Why don't we,
would you like to let the planning department make their presentation while you look for the page numbers?
yeah. Ms. Silva?
If you can just give her a little space so she can speak.
Good afternoon. No, it's fine. Christine Silva, planning staff. On Thursday, June 8th, the planning department received an immediate disclosure request via fax for records and communications related to the Park Merced project. On the same day, staff mailed a letter to the requester invoking an extension due to the compilation of electronic information pursuant to California Government Code Section 6253. On Friday, July 7th, staff completed review of the records and produced those records to the requester on a CD. And as of July 7th, staff considered this request complete. The department acknowledges that we exceeded the 10-day window per Admin Code 6725. It was our oversight to not produce the records in a timely manner. At this time, all responsive records have been provided to the requester. And also, just in addition, I wasn't aware of files embedded within the emails, but if that's what he's looking for, I'm happy to go back, search the emails, figure out what files it is that he's looking for, and then provide those on another CD.
Okay. I have
How long will it take you to do that?
I guess it just depends.
There may be 50 missing files in this CD.
Okay, so I would have to go back to staff to compile those
Just maybe my
PDFs.
personal information from this. I believe that Anonymous believes that there's certain email documents that he received that have attachments, and he has not received those attachments.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah. Okay.
Well, okay. It depends on what you mean by attachments. They're supposed to be internally on the disk that they gave me. Is that what you mean by?
So is this?
If you can let us know what you believe is missing.
So
I
is this?
believe-
Is this? Let me see if I can try to figure out what happened. A request was made. The planning department put all this information on a disk, all these emails. But within those emails, there are links or PDF files in the emails that weren't put on the disk. Is that correct, Ms. Silva?
I'm just learning that right now,
Miss-
but that's what it sounds like from the requester.
Right.
Through the chair, so the request was received by fax, and you sent a hard disk out.
Well, they didn't send. I picked it up.
You picked it up, yeah. Okay. May we suggest perhaps email in the future?
No, I don't have email access.
So it seems like what happened is these emails that were requested contain information that the requester wanted, but that wasn't additionally put on to the disk.
Well, what's strange is you can clearly see that it's.
Please speak into the mic.
You can clearly see that it's integral to the communication. You have an email, and it's planning, right? So they have plans, and they're giving very detailed instructions on what's wrong or what needs to be changed, and here's the picture of what I'm talking about in the text. So it's not offline, it's not on a separate medium, it's right there I don't know how they could have made the mistake, frankly, but because it's voluminous and obvious, you can't do the business of the planning department without all things being there on the disk.
Through the chair, Ms. Silva, do you get many requests that end up going on disk like this? And if so, are you the one that compiles that disk, or is there someone else that
Most of the time, I am the one, or one of my staff.
okay.
Here's one image. Can you see that on the screen?
Yep.
Okay. So
If you could speak into the mic, if possible. Thanks. Yeah, we can see.
I
there's
believe on
attachments
my
there.
Mac it opens up. It opens up. What makes it even more confusing is there are some of them there. Not all of them are missing. I would say most of them are missing, or half of them are missing. So I can't speak. I don't have it memorized. I can't swear that this is or is not there. What we know is there's a file name there. So I could. This is a PC, and on my machine, it would either on my Mac, it would either open if it was there or not open if it's not there, and it's.
Okay.
So I can't explain how this software works.
Gotcha.
Because it's not the same software I use on my Mac.
Thank you. Through the chair, Ms. Silva, another question for you. So you invoked, what, a 10-day extension, and you guys went beyond that?
Yes. But at the time of production, we did believe that we produced everything that was requested.
Okay. And how many-
I can't speak to the PNG files because we do get that question quite often from
Okay.
other requesters.
Before you get to that, how many days after the 10-day extension did you produce documents? Or did you let him know that the disk was there to be picked up? Is that how it worked?
Yes, on July 7th, we mailed out a letter to him for pickup of the
So
CD.
June 8th was the original, 10 days would be June 18th. And
Correct.
then so about 3 weeks later, it was ready for pickup. Okay. And then go ahead and speak to the PNGs.
The PNG files are parts of the San Francisco planning signatures. They're images with links to our social media feeds and our email and our website. So it's
Okay.
like a little icon of the little Facebook icon, the
Okay.
Instagram icon, etc.
All right.
But when we PDF them, they just show as PNG files.
Okay. And you're willing to work with the complainant here to dive back into that disk and
Yes,
add
if-
all these missing attachments?
If he believes that there are attachments that we did not produce, we're happy to do that. But also because this is an Adobe file, it's if there are attachments in the email, he can double click on the link and the attachment will open up in a separate window.
Okay, so maybe it's a question of changing the format.
Can I speak here? I'm not new to computers, I don't think. I'm really getting confused as to why they're missing. Also, if you could turn this projector, here's some files that I found. Which one of these?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. So here, I did a paper printout. Those I found are missing. I don't know where they are on the 97 pages. If I could find do you want to see them, or you take my word for it? Right?
So what's missing? The PNGs?
PDF.
Oh,
All there's 1, 2, 3, 4 PDFs. And
Ask him to go back
one
and look.
MSG.
Come back.
That's maybe something your
Yeah.
software can't even open.
okay.
Okay.
So-
Thank you. I'm going to make a motion to continue this to the call of the chair and, instruct the respondent to keep talking with you. It sounds like this can be unraveled if she keeps working with you and you get all the attachments that you need.
If I could again respond?
I'm sorry, I'm making a motion here that you'll get a chance in a second.
Maybe we can just simplify that and just have I don't know if the respondent is agreeable to this, but just have them go through the documents that they have already provided and to double check and provide a new disk with all the additional attachments.
I'd like you to put a time limit on this.
Be happy to do that.
Can I just note, this is one instance where you open the PDF file and you double click on any of those PDFs, it would open in a separate window. So the attachment is there. It's embedded within the
I beg
email
your pardon.
itself.
That's not what I found.
So
I believe there might be a request for a format that's easier for the anonymous to work for. Maybe we can just.
So you're saying
I
on
leave it to the chair.
your Mac that's not happening?
Right.
Okay.
so
I think the original motion is still.
yeah, I think though, and we should also, even if it's continued. Okay, we'll continue it, then we'll deal with the violation. So I just have one question for Ms. Silva. From what I heard, from 6.8 to 7.7, there was no communication from planning to the complainant.
That's not true.
I'm just trying to verify that.
Yes.
So you got it 6/8. You called for the 10-day extension because it is voluminous, but then you went way beyond the 10 days, but didn't communicate saying, "Hey, we got a lot of stuff." Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
That's
Okay. Okay. So what was the motion again?
so. Motion to continue the matter to the call of the chair, and instruct the respondent to reproduce the data in a format that the complainant is able to access within 15 days. Is that reasonable, Ms. Silva? She's nodding
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
And can we
pub-
find that we have jurisdiction and that the matter is a public document?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll amend.
And I will second the amended motion.
Okay.
Any public comment on the motion? See.
Good evening. I have not reviewed the file, but my own experience with planning is they tried to not helping you, but try to make it as difficult as possible for the public to get documents. Particularly, they says, "Oh, this is a bunch of these things that you cannot open it." They say, "Oh, you do this way, you do that way." That's my experiences. I just hope that they improve it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, let's have the vote.
On that motion, Member Highland.
Aye.
Highland, aye. Member Moss.
Aye.
Moss, aye. Chair Kanata.
Aye.
Kanata, aye. The motion passes. The matter will be continued to the call of the chair.
Okay, next item, please.
Next on the agenda, item number 7, file number 17091, complaint filed by Marvin Lambert against the Planning Department and the Recreation and Parks for allegedly violating Administrative Code Section 67.21, 67.24, 67.25, 67.26, and 67.27 by failing to respond to a public works request in a timely and complete manner.
Okay, Mr. Lambert?
Hello,
Hi, 3 minutes, please.
my name's Marvin Lambert. Okay, you have my original complaint, and you have an additional complaint add on to that. Basically, this could be handled really simply by Park and Planning in the spirit of your previous discussions. They know what I'm looking for, and they're withholding information from me. And this is such a minor issue in the grand scheme of things. Not a minor thing to me, but in the grand scheme of things, it ought to be viewed minor. I don't know why there's so much effort to withhold information, okay? So basically, I requested information from Planning and Park. Park responded on time, but they said there was nothing to provide to me, and except that which was being protected by the attorney-client privilege. Planning didn't respond in time. After my complaint reached them, then they responded. And in Planning's response, late as it was, I saw that there was communications involving Park Department people. And so I found out about Park Department communications from the Planning file, but clearly that should have come to me from the Park inquiry. The most interesting part about this, though, is the claim of attorney-client privilege. There's no explanation of why that would be, and why would they? This is just a simple inquiry, a project that we've gone back and forth on, and again, they know where I'm coming from on it. And I've not threatened any lawsuit or anything. I'm just trying to get information. So I don't think in the spirit of the Sunshine Ordinance you can just arbitrarily withhold information, which they withheld information, we know that. But in addition to withhold information with a claim of attorney-client privilege. So that's basically what my complaint is here.
Okay, thank you. Is there a respondent here? So,
Christine Silva, planning staff. On Thursday, July 27th, the planning department received a request via email from Mark Lambert for records and communications related to the Cottage Road project. On Wednesday, August 9th, staff completed review of the records and produced those records to the requester. And as of August 9th, staff considered this request complete. The department acknowledges that we exceeded the 10-day window by 2 days, but at this time, all responsive records have been provided to the requester. And I think
Through the chair.
Parks here.
Ms. Silva? So here's 2 cases where you've said that you've been late in preparing packages, and this is not the first time because you've been before us. What's going on at planning?
We've had quite the backlog of requests, as you can imagine, with the increase of development and contentious projects in the city. But we have since added additional resources to help us with these requests, and at this point, we've caught up. So over the summer, we've just had a high backlog.
Okay, but you're back on point now. Okay, great.
Are you representing Rec and Park also?
No, I believe
Is there
that
somebody from Rec and Park here? Please come up.
This guy.
Good evening, Commissioners. Eric Pulowski
You
with
can
the
move that up.
Recreation.
That mic is movable.
Eric Pulowski, Recreation and Parks. I guess I'll respond in turn to the 2 points the two, as I see them, relevant points that Mr. Lambert brought up. The first, he was indeed correct. When we originally responded, I did state that we responded fully and completely, but that turns out that was not the case. We did make an error of omission. We regret the error. The relevant document that we did not provide was an ad hoc summary that a member of our staff provided to our press team, and it just didn't occur to her that that was within the universe of documents. But we didn't willfully or deliberately withhold information. The information in those communications was information that we've said this to Mr. Lambert on several occasions, we'd be happy to provide. We really have nothing to hide. The second matter is the matter of the attorney-client privilege communications. The complaint before you is related to a follow-up request Mr. Lambert initiated with our department, and in the original request of July 13th, we did respond fully, completely, and in a timely manner, but we did withhold some attorney-client privilege communications. We informed him that we did so, and the Sunshine Ordinance does provide for this withholding. It's Admin Code 62.21K. In the complaint before you, he made a follow-up request he requested specifically those documents that we had withheld, and we informed him that we would continue to withhold them pursuant to the attorney-client privilege. And that concludes my remarks.
Okay. So for this request, did you reply on time? And what was provided?
We did reply on time within the 10 days. It was not an IDR request. I provided 2 points of information. One is that we had nothing responsive to the request, which I just mentioned was in fact an error. And then we also informed him that we were going to continue to withhold the attorney-client privilege documents that we had withheld previously pursuant to attorney-client privilege.
And then the documents that you withheld by request, when were they made available? Or have they been made available?
They turned, as Mr. Lambert explained, they turned up in the package of documents that the Planning Commission provided.
So they were the same documents that the Planning Commission provided?
I believe so. From what I saw, yeah.
Okay.
Through the chair, are you an attorney?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you. And what was that code that you cited, 6721K?
Correct.
Okay.
And so
of the admin code?
I don't have the code in front of me, but it may. I don't know if it's explicitly stated in admin code 62.21K, but there's I believe 4 codes relevant. there's 3 other codes. California Government Code Section 6254K. There's 6276.04 and California Evidence Code 954. I believe, again, I don't have the admin code in front of me, but the admin code may reference those 3 California codes. I don't know exactly.
Okay, thank you. My recollection of attorney-client, in the cases I've done here on the task force is, I'm trying to remember. I know we've dealt with this, and whether it can be used as a blanket withholding. It's not like where you redact certain things, but give the rest of it. Perhaps Victor can help us out here. We've come across this before in past cases.
I'm not sure if we've made any specific ruling, but
Right.
Attorney-client privilege withholdings are usually permissible. I don't believe that there's any way for us to review those documents to determine if they.
Okay. And you're referring to the city attorney privilege. Is that what you're referring to?
Correct. The communications were direct communications between the city attorney's office and RPD staff.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Lambert? Regarding the documents that are supposedly attorney-client privilege, why do you think they are, or do you think they are not, or if so, why?
Do I think they are? Well, that's interesting. I'm not an attorney either, but I know I have communicated with the attorney for the park department. Each in this city attorney there's an attorney assigned to each of these departments.
If you could speak.
I have communicated with him, and so some of his answers are kind of interesting. So I can imagine that there might be something he advised staff to not divulge, but on the other hand, it would be staff being the client. It would be their call to whether to go to waive that privilege. It would not be the attorney's office, city attorney's office. So we have to presume that the park department and probably I suspect there's the same thing going on with the planning department, although they've not said that there was anything they were protecting with client attorney privilege. So I have to assume that there's some reason, something relevant to this, because I just can't get to the bottom of a simple answer about what's going on with this project. It's really kind of mysterious. It could be so easily just tell me what happened, and yet I can't find it through asking for communications and so on and so forth. So I suspect there's something there interesting, something embarrassing to staff that's being withheld. But I don't think, as I read the Sunshine Ordinance, I don't think this, you mentioned the word blanket. I think there has to be some justification, like if I had threatened to sue the city or something like that, or sue an employee or something like that, then that would be appropriate that they could invoke attorney-client privilege.
Chair.
But I've made no such
Through the Chair,
representation.
so just to paint the picture a bit more clearly, who is Paul Osaki?
He's the project sponsor. He proposed a project, which I opposed. He's not with the city or anything. He's a member of the public.
And you feel certain documents or communications about the project were revealed to him?
Yes, I feel he knows more than I do.
Okay.
I know he knows more than I do about what's going on here.
All right. And you feel that you're equally entitled to
absolutely.
Particularly
since he's withdrawn his proposal.
Could I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Eric.
Hi,
So
Eric
that-
Pawlowski.
Hi, Eric. So that's the crux of the matter right there. How would you respond to that statement?
The way Mr. Lambert characterized it is correct. If, in fact, we had shared the information that we withheld with Mr. Osaki, we could not invoke the attorney-client privilege, and we would have had to provide them to Mr. Lambert. We did not share the information with Mr. Osaki.
Okay. And his original request was any information to Mr. Osaki or about that project or et cetera, et cetera?
Sorry.
The original information request included Osaki's name?
It did, yes.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, I think they've satisfied what they feel is responsive. They did have something which they originally said they didn't have, but then they gave back. So there's a, I think,
Well, they
probably
didn't give back. The planning department gave it. They should probably provide it also.
Okay. Okay. So there's an issue there.
Right, there is an issue there.
There's an issue there, but there's also the admitted violation
Right.
of the of the timeliness.
Right.
That's two things.
So there's a, well, one second.
1 second.
There's an admitted violation by planning. Rec and Park theoretically provided a response on time, but the response wasn't correct,
Also a violation.
right? Because they said that they couldn't
They
release
provided
records
an inadequate response as they
Right.
were not aware that they did not provide a copy of the ad hoc summary. However, I believe that they have since provided that document.
Right, but they're still in violation.
Yes.
Okay. So,
Okay.
as in regard to the documents that are supposedly attorney-client privilege, is the respondent required to provide law supporting that?
I believe they have. They quoted sections of the California Public Records Act and the Criminal Code, and there is a section in the Sunshine Ordinance that allows for attorney-client privilege.
Is that in our package?
I think
He verbally stated it.
Who did?
Mr. Palowski verbally stated a moment ago.
and the SF admin codes cited in here too, 67, 21, 24, and 27. 6727 government's justification for holding with records.
Right, but it says that you have to provide justification.
Right, and the justification they used was attorney-client privilege. We've dealt with this before at the full task force. This is a convenient. I mean, every time, if you just happen to have a conversation with the city attorney, whether it's verbal, otherwise, guess what? It all gets. And we've dove into this issue before. I just don't know. I wish we had one of our attorneys sitting with us in the subcommittee to kind of say, yes, but. So this might be something worth bumping up.
What we can do is send this up to the full task force. There's admittedly 2 violations, and we can say that that there is both planning and rec and park have violated. One was timeliness, and one was providing information.
Right.
And then have the task force adjudicate the attorney-client privilege part of this.
Sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
Did the complainant want to say, Mr. Lambert, do you had something else you want to
I
add?
think that would be good for me too, if I understand it, because that'll give me time to study and read up on exactly what the law and yada yada yada. So we'll really know what.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'll work.
Can we request Parks and Rec to put in writing some of the stuff it said today about attorney-client and, because I don't think I have a letter from them in my packet, and I think that would be useful for the full task force.
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be useful. Eric, are you willing to do that? I see him nodding his head. Yeah, it'd be just nice to package this as tightly as possible so that when it gets to the full task force, we can
Okay.
hit the ground running.
So,
I believe the motion would be to refer the matter to the full task force for hearing with the recommendation to find jurisdiction and that the matter is a public record, with the recommendation to find a violation against the planning department for not responding in a timely manner, and also the Rec and Park departments for not responding completely in regards to the document.
Correct.
And in addition to that, we are requesting that Rec and Park provide information regarding attorney-client privilege.
That last piece, I like flesh
Their
it out.
justification, their use of the justification of attorney-client privilege.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And so at the full task force, do we want Planning Commission to be there or just Rex and Park?
I think the based on previous hearings that we should not be waiving that at the committee level because it seemed to cause complications
Right.
at the committee level.
They
at the
should
full
be
task
there
force
if they choose not to be there.
So, okay.
I believe at this time we are asking both parties to show up,
Okay.
both respondents and complainants.
Okay.
Unless there's a agreement from both parties that they don't need to show up.
But sorry, through the chair, it's
I guess since there's violations for both, they should both be there.
indeed, and also because this is the, as we've gone over before, the one part of the Sunshine Ordinance where people are required to send somebody knowledgeable is for withholding records, and so
Right.
even if we, there's a chance that we may run into a situation where, there should have been somebody here, and we
Yeah.
waived that.
Right, the last
And-
time one of the two had additional information
Yeah.
that the other one was not because they weren't there, wasn't able to comment on.
Yeah, just better be safe.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any comment on the motion? Public comment on the motion? Seeing none, let's go to vote.
On that motion, Member Highland.
Aye.
Highland, aye. Member Moss.
Aye.
Moss, aye. Chair Kanata.
Aye.
Kanata, aye. The motion passes. The parties will be notified of the scheduling before the task force.
Okay.
Next on the agenda, item number 8, file number 17092, complaint filed by Ellen Sang against John Rayam, Ann Brask, and the Planning Department for allegedly violating Administrative Code, Section 67.21 and 67.25 by failing to respond to an immediate disclosure request in a timely and complete manner.
Hi, good evening. On August 16, 2017, that's Wednesday, I make a Sunshine immediate disclosure request for 2 public records, which are 2 plans for 2650 High Street new project. Ann Brask was the planner. Respondents did not respond the next business day, which is August 17, and they did not request for extension neither. On August 23, 2017, I sent respondents an email providing them a copy of my August 16 IDR again, and informing them I did not receive a response. I filed the Sunshine complaint, this case, regarding August 16, 2017 IRD. On August 24, 2017, Task Force email notice to respondent, and I quote part, respondent is required to submit written response to the allegation, including any and all supporting documents, etc., to Task Force within 5 business days. And 5 business days ended on August 31st, 2017, which is Thursday. Respondent ignored the Task Force requirement and submit nothing to Task Force regarding my complaint. On September 15, 2017 afternoon, Task Force emailed me the agenda packet. From that packet, I first learned that respondents sent their first so-called response, dated September 11, to Task Force. Respondents failed to respond to my IRD, immediate disclosure request, and failed to comply with the Sunshine's requirement by refusing to respond to my Sunshine complaint. They refused to produce any requested plans and trying to confuse the member by untimely brought up some respondents regarding to my another IRD dated August 10 for different records. And now they're asking you to consider the respondents for the other Sunshine request, which was August 10, to prevent me to file the Sunshine complaint against them for my August 10th IRD. I should not be wasting time for the other IRD request because it's not subject to this complaint. I can answer your question if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Silva, one last time.
Good evening. Christine Silva, planning staff. On Thursday, August 10th, we received an immediate disclosure request from Ellen Sang for records related to the project at 2650 Hyde Street, and following invoked an extension to compile electronic data. On August 23rd, after reviewing back and forth email exchanges between staff and the requester, prior to this request, we believed we previously responded to the request and responded accordingly. However, after re-reviewing the request, it appears that we misunderstood the original request and as a result produced the record to the requester on September 11th. And as of September 11th, we considered this request complete. The department did exceed the 10-day window. At this time, the responsive record has been provided to the requester. And as a matter of note, there have been, as you know, several requests, lots of email exchanges, at least probably 24 at this point, of back and forth of requests, and then also asking for information. And in all those instances, we do try to do our best to respond to the questions, the email requests. But in this instance, there have been many points where the requester has disagreed with our analysis, and I think that kind of clouds the requests and also the questions and the requester seeking information. But we do believe at this point we have responded to the request.
Thank you. Ms. Sang? I have some. I just want to get a timeline. So you did an IDR on 8/10, August 10th.
Yes.
Was that responded to?
They asking for extension for that one. That's for 5 different documents. It's totally different than this one.
Okay, so that's not the wait. Yeah. That's not the issue here.
Okay.
August 10th, correct?
Yeah, August 10th is not the.
So then you did it. Then you did another IDR on 8/16.
Yes.
Have you gotten the response from them about
None.
that?
That's why I think that this statement is almost lying to me. Okay. Of course.
So
yeah.
you've received nothing from them?
Nothing for my August 16th.
Not even, but no records or no response at all.
No response at all, and then even they don't respond to your requirement. Ask them to respond. They did not respond to my complaint. This complaint.
Wait. Okay, so you're saying they didn't respond to the complaint?
They did not respond to my.
They did not. Okay,
no,
let's stop there for now.
No, they did not respond. Not the next day. Not now. Until today. No, and then yes.
Okay.
No.
Ms. Silva.
There's 2 different requests for different documents.
Right. Okay. Ms. Silva, we're not talking about 8/10.
Okay.
There was an IDR on 8/16. Ms. Sang says there's been no response whatsoever.
I would need to go back and check our records.
So it's in our
see what that
package. It
looked like.
reads, Dear Planner Ann Brask, read 265052. Please provide the public records used for answering questions in SECA Step 2, number 1 and number 2, and that's it.
Right, it's page 158 in the pack.
Yes, I see that.
So
I will say that we have provided this plan set to Ms. Sang multiple times, but I will check back with both our planner and our own records to see what the response was for this email.
And I have to admit that these questions sound familiar to me from past cases, but I think we asked Ms. Sang to repackage it very clearly as to what she's looking at. She's done that here, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so. Okay, all right. So you're, Ms. Silva, you can see that IDR, right there.
Yes.
And there's no communication or email thread following that on your behalf. Sounds like this one was missed.
I will need to confirm.
Okay, all right. Continue.
Yeah.
And then have them work it out, and then.
right, and then do the violation up at the full.
Yeah. So,
Moss?
Ms. Sang,
What? Do you have any?
I was just.
I mean, is the issue that we have we have somebody who says that records have been delivered, and yet the other side is saying records haven't been received. I'm confused.
No. The planning is saying that for this specific 816 IDR, she doesn't know if it's has been responded to.
Okay, so we know that there's likely a violation because of that,
Right.
but the question is whether it does anybody any good to move it along before.
Right.
Because what could happen is we could find a violation and then it gets bounced back to us and then the things are incomplete and then we have to re-adjudicate the whole thing.
So what I was going to ask, the complainant is, what I would like to do is make a motion to continue this to our call of the chair here, but meanwhile instruct Ms. Silva to go back to this 816 IDR and answer it within a certain time period to satisfy your original request. If that doesn't happen, let Victor know.
And if that doesn't happen soon.
Within the time frame we come up with, that you get the information you need. But remember, it's just for this one IDR, not all the other conversations we're having.
Right.
And so that's what we have in front of us here.
Yes.
So if they satisfy that one, then hopefully you can say, okay, I want to close that.
Yes.
And you can still pursue the other ones. That's fine. So that's where we're leading towards. Would that be okay with you?
Yes, I was really asking for advice the last time for the chair.
Yes.
She really specifically teach me in general how to request for sunshine request.
This is a very good IDR. It's very clear what you're asking for, but they missed it. So let's give them a chance to answer it. Yeah. Because that way you'll get your information more quickly than if it goes through.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm feeling 5 days. Is enough. This has been going on since 8/16 without a response, Ms. Silva.
Yes,
okay.
You're right.
So how about we make a motion, or Ms. Silva, did you want to respond to that?
I just want to know, there's a whole slew of communications we have from many other requests.
We're talking about the 816 IDR on page 158. Okay?
Noted.
That's it. That's what we're dealing with here.
And we appreciate your workload and everything else, but we're going to give you 5 days to comply with that. Is that fair?
Okay, and send it to the complainant and to Victor.
Yeah. All right. So
I believe the motion is find jurisdiction, find that the matter is a public record, and to continue the matter to the call of the chair with instructions to the planning department to review the August 16th immediate disclosure request and respond within 5 business days.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get a date on that. That would be by...
Today's the 19th.
By
Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Close the business on the 26th.
Ms. Silva, close of business on the 26th is the date. All right, Ms. Sang, you should have something by then.
All right.
Is there a second?
For the record, really.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
We have a second.
Second.
Public comment on the motion. Seeing none?
On the motion, Member Highland.
Aye.
Highland, aye. Member Moss.
Aye.
Moss, aye. Chair Kanata.
Aye.
Kanata, aye. The motion passes.
All right, next item.
Item 9, adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Second. The only motion I didn't.
Adjourn.
The only motion